everybody. Welcome back to Walk Talk. I am, of course, your co-host, Evan Cook. Today, Dawn is out, but we have a fantastic guest host directly from the Alzheimer's Association itself. Everybody, please welcome Elizabeth Stout.
Hello, I'm happy to be here. I have some pretty big shoes to fill with Dawn being the co-host typically, but I'm going to do my best. I'm normally like looming in the background and just watching you guys, so it's going to be very different to be like active and actually asking questions. So thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. We love you. We love having you in the background making your faces. It always makes this experience a little bit more fun, but we love it. But yeah, so great show today, and we're going to bring on our guests from Edward Jones and Mr. Matt McDonald. First off, of course, we want to thank you, Matt, for joining us here and being able to take the time and do the show. And, naturally, we want to start off with your origin story. So why don't you give us a little background on how you got involved with the Alzheimer's Association and the walk in general?
Yeah, so I first heard about the partnership between Edward Jones and Alzheimer's Association back in 2016 in January, after our two organizations had decided to team up. And that was really the first I had started to learn about Alzheimer's Association just in general. I reached out I did Google research, found our local walk manager at the time, called and introduced myself, and she was like, we were told not to even talk to you guys yet. And I was like, well, let's get going, let's rock and roll. So back in 2016 is when I started to get very heavily involved. I, to be frank, wanted to do something within the community and had kind of toiled with a couple different organizations, but I think for it to be a successful thing, you have to have passion. And I did things that I did, but I didn't have passion for. But having deeply served numerous households with my client base that had dealt with Alzheimer's, and to see firsthand the impact emotionally, physically, financially, that this horrific disease can take on a family, and just see the decline in the health of an individual who I see, once every 6 months, or the decline in the health of the caregiver who's there supporting that person. It's something I've been very in tune to. So when I heard about this, I said, this is what I want to be a part of. And I got behind it immediately and went just gangbusters to promote it within our region, to promote the Kalamazoo Walk, and to try to do everything I could within Edward Jones to get as many advisors involved as possible.
Gotcha. Nice. Very cool. And as, kind of the association rep for Edward Jones, tell me a little bit more about your relationship between, you as a rep and the association itself.
Yeah. So, again, I think it was one of those things where with everything in our world today, it comes down to how can we be the most beneficial for the positions that we have. And I think with Edward Jones, when we did the calculations and we looked and said, hey, our job is to protect legacies, it's to protect wealth. When we run the calculations and we see today we manage about 1.5 trillion in assets, but what we noticed was that in the next 30 years, we could lose over half of those assets to just pure care cost because of this disease. When you start saying it can bankrupt Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid all together,
yeah,
it's a no-brainer for why do we have to get involved? Why do we have to build this partnership? And so, like I said, with the firm, looking at your organization and just seeing how you were structured with kind of that small town feel, it wasn't a big corporation, to see how much you guys give back out of every dollar donated. I think for our firm, it was just an absolute no-brainer to want to get involved with you. And from our perspective, again, we are the firm that is in every small town in America. And that was what we prided ourselves on, is we want to bring Wall Street to Main Street. And so just the synergy between your structure and our structure and our core beliefs, it made it perfect for us to want to get involved. And so my job as a regional coordinator is to basically work with all the advisors in Southwest Michigan to parlay the message between our home office in St. Louis and you and your organization, to make sure we can get as much engagement and involvement as possible between all the advisors and your organization. So our expectation as a firm for our advisors is to say, we want all of our advisors to partake in the walk. We want to get all of our clients involved. We want to raise as much in donations as humanly possible, so that way we can give that to you and hopefully find a cure as soon as possible. So the drive within our organization is massive to find this cure as soon as possible, just like yours.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. You know, over the last 4 years, it's been easy to see, you know, you've had this uncanny ability to get other offices involved. You know, what was probably one of the best or top three, we'll say, ways that you were able to engage other offices and get them involved in the process?
Passion and being unrelentless in borderline horrifically annoying, I think, are my so every year we have about 3 core meetings where we'll have 100 advisors plus get together, kind of like your summit meetings. And that's kind of our chance to share ideas. And we have what's called a regional leader who's in charge of each area. And I'm in the back pocket making sure that every meeting I get to present about the partnership and updates and reminding people to do the walks. And I know a lot of regions within Edward Jones across the country don't do that. And I think that's a big thing because it's at top of mind. The other thing is I've had my walk managers, I've scheduled time through these meetings to bring them into these Edward Jones meetings, to have them present to the region, so that way our walk manager can get that face time, build the recognition, so they don't feel intimidated to walk into the Edward Jones offices anymore and make those asks. Annoying in the respect that when it gets close to walk time, I send weekly emails to every advisor. I call them. I basically scream at them to sign up and make sure they're a part of it. And if they're not in there, I'm calling them and saying, get on the, get involved. I don't see your name on here yet. So matter of, do you want to keep hearing from me or do you want me to go away?
And we love you for that, Matt. We love you for that, just so you know.
It's a great technique.
And also, you said earlier, Matt, that your focus has been Southwest Michigan, but truth be told, and really the reality of the situation is you've made a nationwide impact. I mean, people are recognizing you from a nationwide standpoint from the efforts that you have put forth in overall fundraising, overall awareness, which is pretty incredible. One thing I wanted to touch on is the Van Buren coffee. How did that come to be? How did that sort of originate essentially, and how did you grow it to the level that it has? Because now it's a statewide effort where everyone for each different walk can put in specific promo codes for this fundraising. So tell me a little bit about that.
So again, it comes down to passion. So who doesn't like coffee? I mean, first and foremost, right?
It happens to be one of my favorite things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you say you don't, I don't know if I can trust you. So
Same.
oh, I think Evan.
Come on.
But
who knows? Maybe this is what breaks me into it, right?
So we need tea, I think, for Evan. Or Evan.
There you go.
There we go. We'll work on that next year.
Okay.
Nice, perfect.
Van Buren did buy a tea company, so
Yes.
we'll roll that out.
Oh, perfect, even better.
Ideas starting right now.
That's
Here
right,
now.
exactly. But again, it all stems from having to have passionate people who can get behind causes. And so Josh Getting is the gentleman who owns Van Buren Coffee Company, and him and I have known each other for years. He had started a charitable organization with a company here in Kalamazoo called Samuel's Blankets, which was started by a young kid who I think was 8 years old, and he wanted to provide blankets to the homeless people of Kalamazoo. And so Josh got behind that passionate project, and so he came up with this Coffee with a Cause idea. And just by knowing him and seeing the impact that could make in helping that organization raise more money to help provide blankets to the homeless people, especially, our winters are atrocious. So hearing that message, it obviously immediately clicked with me. I had been working with you guys already for a couple years at this point, and I just love new ideas. I love coming up with new things to get people involved and passionate. So I approached him and said, Alzheimer's, what do you think? And he said, love it, let's go. So he and I started the idea of what was it going to be, what was going to look like, how are we going to do this, and working with our walk manager, Amanda Bittinger at the time, who's still with Alzheimer's Association here in Kalamazoo, working with his staff, we built out the whole thing from the packaging, the logo, the bags being purple with the logos involved, working with my home office and compliance, which is sometimes an absolute joy in case they watch this.
I knew that's exactly what you were going to say.
It was a pleasure.
Joy. Yeah,
we loved them. They were great. Working with your organization in Chicago through your headquarters, also phenomenal. And we made this work. We got compliance involved. They approved everything. They actually rushed it because they loved the idea. And so, yeah, we did a big taste test event for some of the local nursing homes and board members. And we got to have them vote on which coffee they liked the most. And then we did a little vote on the name, which Unforgettable was almost senselessly hands down the winner.
Yeah, hands down. It's a good, catchy name.
Perfect.
Very relevant.
Exactly. And so we rolled it out. We did our initial run last year, and we sold out of everything. And I'm proud to say about 90% of the sales did come from Edward Jones advisors in Southwest Michigan. Because again, we did a huge promotion at our big summer regional event. So every year, kind of back to those ideas, we do a big carnival kind of thing every year at our summer regional where we have all of the advisors, all of the families get involved. And last year's event, we generated over, I think, $20,000 of donations just from the local advisors.
That is incredible.
Yeah, really. Yeah, applause to that.
And so coffee was a part of that, and that's kind of where we launched. And so other advisors really loved the idea. And so how I kind of use it locally is one, any family that has dealt with it, I give them a free bag or two every year. And then I just have them sitting in my office, and I can't tell you how many clients would come in and ask about it, and it would spark a conversation. And we had numerous other advisors who would buy 50, 100 bags, and they were doing the same thing. And we generated thousands of dollars of donations that went directly to you and your organization just from that coffee. And so the next step to take this is I've been working with home office. We internally have a catalog that all advisors in the country can buy from. And so I'm working diligently with them to get this coffee in that magazine, because I've already calculated, and if every Edward Jones employee bought one bag, we would generate over $200,000 of just passive donations to you guys to go for research if they just bought one bag. So
see, you're a numbers guy, and really you condensed it down and you made it so easy for everybody. That's all you need to do.
Right, and we also we absolutely. I know what I wouldn't be doing my job if we give a shout out. You know, yourself, you do annual fundraisers all the time, and in Southwest Michigan alone, it's what was the number, Elizabeth? Was it 70,000?
$70,000.
$70,000. Yeah, that's absolutely incredible. I mean, clearly, you know, you keep using the word passion, and I think you couldn't pick any more perfect of a word. You know, hearing about, you know, how you speak about it and how all the other advisors have gotten involved. I mean, passion to a T. Yep, absolutely, 100%.
And speaking of that, Matt, your purpose, your job, your focus has been engaging so many offices that maybe haven't otherwise been engaged before. Since you're on the show right now, I mean, what would you share? What would you say to perhaps those local organizations or organizations and other offices that maybe haven't been engaged through Edward Jones specifically, to get engaged, to get involved? I mean, what is some good reasoning as to why they should get involved, and what are some ways that they can easily do it?
Well, so to that point, I had the pleasure for 2019 to go to the Alzheimer's Association National Convention in San Antonio. And it really raised a lot of awareness to me. One, that there are some really passionate Edward Jones teams. We were selected as one of 10 people across the country to represent Edward Jones at the event, which was an honor in and of itself. But it was nice to see other people as passionate as me across the country. But I think the part that disappointed me a little bit, if I'm being frank, is that there was a lot of walk managers and local communities that were being represented at this event, as you guys probably very well know, that were just coming up and begging for help. And, you know, we've tried to reach out. We don't have a contact. What do we do? And I think, Elizabeth, as we had talked a little bit, that year, I think I spoke to over 20 different cities across the country for Edward Jones offices, sometimes calling 5 to 10 advisors per city. And it took a lot of time, but just kind of trying to rattle the cages and saying, you guys have walk managers with the Alzheimer's Association that are passionate, that want you involved, that want you to be a part of this, and they just need your help. And so, you know, to other advisors, you know, it's a very simple message of, do you want me to keep bugging you or not? You know, it comes back to that.
Yeah.
But it comes down to this is, I always call this disease a when disease, not an if disease. And it's a matter of when it's going to impact your family, not a matter of if. And, you know, I have not had anybody in my family. I always get asked at all the things that I do, you know, who in your family, as an assumption of you are involved with somebody you've lost as because of this virus, or because of the disease. But at the end of the day, it comes down to, I'm passionate because I've seen firsthand the toll it takes. And I know other advisors have seen that same toll because the disease is so rampant in our world today. And I think to myself, how can you look those families in the eye and say, I'm doing everything I can to protect everything that you have built, if you can't take a little bit of time and help promote this organization? You know, to me, it's the work of saying, I'm not only doing everything financially, but I'm doing everything from a community perspective to get out there and help your family every way I can. And that is taking a little bit of time, one Saturday a year, to go on a walk, taking some of this income that I have and giving it back to something that I totally believe in, that's bipartisan, which is amazing in our world today. And being able to help find a cure for something that's going to affect 1 in 7 Americans, or more importantly, you know, anybody who's 83 and over, 1 in 3 are going to die from this. And if that can't get you passionate, I mean, then how can you look at that family in the eye and say, I'm doing everything I can to help you and your family? So to me, it's passion and believing and saying, if you want to truly say you're doing everything for your clients, take a little bit of time and get involved. It's simple.
Yeah. And you also have partnered with joining in support groups and education and encouraging that within your client base, right?
Yeah, so one of the things, I work with a gentleman who is in Pennsylvania. He's an Edward Jones advisor. He's kind of like the godfather of the partnership between Edward Jones and Alzheimer's Association. He's been a huge advocate of your organization for over 20 years. And I had found out about him, and I called him one day, and I remember just, you know, it was so amazing to talk to somebody equally, if not even more passionate about your organization than I was. And one of the things that he kind of asked me about was, how are you really giving back with the tools that you have? And, you know, I thought, well, you know, I'm doing all these things for the walk and this, but at the end of the day, it's really about the caregivers and the people fighting the disease, and how are we helping them with every way we can. And so my job every day is to sit and help people with their financial plan and making sure they have enough income and making sure their estate's in order. But what was I doing for those people who often, you know, caregivers are thrust in this position where, you know, mom and dad find out that they have this illness, and now I have to take over. And I don't know what's going on. I don't know what their healthcare directive is. I don't even know if I'm power of attorney. What is their money in? Or do they have enough? What's the income? How are we going to take care of them? And not only are you trying to mentally cope with this idea that mom and dad, or mom or dad, whatever it may be, is ill, but now you have to take on this whole role that you weren't ready for. So by going to local Alzheimer's Association meetings in places like Marshall and Kalamazoo, my goal is just to show up and say, look, I'm going to give you an hour of information, and I'm just here as a resource. And if you just need somebody to talk to, you don't have to work with me. That's not what this is about. This is about giving you information. So I call it my school bus. So we hop on the school bus and we make 3 stops at all the key places that we need to go to provide them the information. So we talk about the importance of an accountant, and sometimes it needs to be a forensic accountant. So that way we can look back and say, hey, has mom filed her taxes like she thinks she has over the last couple of years? and who can we work with locally to make sure that she has done everything right? Because I can tell you the IRS may not be as sympathetic as we would like them to be when it comes to past due taxes. Next thing is the estate planner. When was the last time they updated their will or trust? When was the last time they made sure that you were the financial power of attorney? Are you the healthcare directive? Do you even know what it is? Do you know what medicines mom and dad take? These are the things that people don't think about until maybe it's too late. So let's deal with it before it's an issue, making sure that the legacy is built. And then from the financial planning side, do they have enough income? Are they invested in a way that's going to generate the income they need? Because what we know is over the lifespan of somebody dealing with Alzheimer's or dementia, you're looking at over $350,000 to $600,000, depending on the estimate, over 7 to 10 years. So are they doing the right things to be able to afford that, or do they have the right insurances? And so again, it's just giving people that information so that way they know what to do and where to start and who to talk to give them a little bit of peace of mind as they take on this new role that is pretty scary, on top of the emotions of, the reality of what your mom or dad or who you love is going to be going through.
I love how you've been able to take your passion, take the Alzheimer's Association's mission, and transform it into a way that's truly beneficial and educational and for your entire client base. And it really it's become such a beautiful, logical, helpful partnership on all ends. And it's just, but it really took a catalyst, which was you sort of took that motion and movement to make that what it is. So just personally, thank you for that, because just hearing more and more of what you've done, it's pretty mind-blowing. Nationwide, Edward Jones has made such an impact, and you've done it in such monumental and unique and creative and fun ways. And I know some have even gotten recognition for Guinness Book of World Records. So could you share with everyone just some of those unique ways that you guys have really engaged your clientele base and really on a very large scale?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm so proud of the firm that I work for, especially when it comes to fighting alongside of you for this disease. A couple highlights that I always love to share with people in terms of, you can always donate money. That's the easy thing to do. The hard thing to do is actually, do something about it, put action into motion. And, every year we lose close to 70,000 clients at Edward Jones to Alzheimer's. So you think about the impact that makes to people across America with us. So what we do, not only do we donate, in fact, I believe in the last 5 years, Edward Jones advisors, not just the corporation, but the advisors, have raised over $12 million from our own pockets to the walks across America. In fact, last year we had an advisor partake in every single walk in America. But the firm has also provided over $10 million in our partnership to your organization. So, you're talking, for my crude math here, over $20 million in donations in the last 5 years from our firm to your organization to help find a cure for this. But it doesn't just go there. A couple years ago in St. Louis, we actually broke a Guinness Book of World Records for the biggest human brain in history. I think they had over 10,000 volunteers show up and form a human brain on the field of Busch Stadium where the St. Louis Cardinals play. One of the things that I think was the most amazing that took a crazy amount of time to organize was we had a walk across America where we had offices in Florida and California, two of the first cities in America for East Coast and West Coast. And they actually joined Edward Jones offices across the whole country. So it was a relay from one office to another. Where advisors would walk. In fact, in West Michigan, we had a gentleman in Hastings who actually did the Death Valley part. They were looking for volunteers, and he was a runner, and he volunteered and did the Death Valley part, which nobody wanted to do for some reason.
Right?
I don't know why.
Gosh, that is so crazy.
But
That is so awesome.
they met and jointly on October 11th, which was the day of the St. Louis Walk. That's where our headquarters are. And so they had the baton show up in time for the opening ceremonies of the walk to show the unity of both coasts joining together for this. I think they did at the Arches.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where, I could talk about the 24/7 hotline that we have, where all of our advisors have a dedicated hotline just for Edward Jones clients. So, you can call that anytime you need, and there's somebody 24/7 from your organization that will answer, and they know specifically they're with Edward Jones. And that's just some of the things we've created, but it goes beyond that. We've created things like with the SEC and FINRA, what's called the Trusted Contact, which was designed to help protect clients who are dealing with Alzheimer's, and it's rolled out across all firms at this point. But it started with a passion from Edward Jones to protect senior investors. We've built a trust account that goes to, I'm blanking on the name right now, but it actually is a trust account built to provide funding to you for medical research from Edward Jones. So across the gamut of just PR to actual donations and frank research, this firm has just grabbed the bull by the horns, and we are fighting tooth and nail with you guys to find a cure.
And Matt, I think that what you have proven throughout this time talking with us today is really the level of difference you can make, the substantial impact and power that one person can truly make, that's just impassioned, that's dedicated, and believes in this mission. I feel like you represented that beautifully today, and I want to personally thank you, and also on behalf of the Alzheimer's Association, just thank you and all of your Edward Jones offices for being engaged, being a national sponsor, doing what you do every day, raising awareness and spreading the word to your client base in hope of a better world and hopefully a day without Alzheimer's disease. So thank you.
Thank you for all that you do as well. You guys are fighting a battle that people need those advocates for. And so when I look at you, all of you, and the selflessness that you all show, helping to find this cure, you guys could be doing other things, but this is the passion that you have taken. So thank you to all of you on behalf of the caregivers I see for being the people who are stepping up and saying, we're gonna be your advocate. We're gonna fight for you. You guys are doing amazing work. So thank you to you.
Yeah, it's absolutely our pleasure, Matt. And again, thank you so much for coming on and taking the time. Amazing information, amazing contribution, and again, nothing short of pure passion. And as you know, because you watch all the episodes, we end everything with with a song dedication, and understand you have one as well. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, so this kind of ties back to 2019 when I was at your national conference in San Antonio. We had Jay Allen, who sang a song called Blank Stare, and it's actually in honor of his mother who was fighting the Alzheimer's. And to see the passion of a son that he had for his mother, to put those words into a song, it was something that kind of left an impression in me, and I think everybody that was there. It's the raw emotion of what everybody feels who has to love someone, and essentially they lose that person through this virus. I heard it put best that this virus is essentially like a house fire, and it basically burns away all the memories and all the things that they cherish, because it takes those away from us. And to see him go through that on stage and try to sing the song in front of everybody, I think it's the feelings that we all have when we fight that with somebody that we love. So for all the caregivers out there, you're not alone, and I think the song helps represent that.
Deep down somewhere, I swear I still see you between the blank stares. It's the first thing that I think about when I wake up and when I lay down. It's the last thing I feel crawling through my mind. I'm still trying to understand it, sitting next to you, holding your hand and hoping you won't fade away this time. Just stay a little while, please stay a little while. If I could only seal the cracks cracks you're slipping through. Wish I didn't feel so helpless when it comes to helping you. Hold on. So I keep holding on to every little memory made of you and me, every little glimpse of who you used to be. I know you're still in there, deep down somewhere. I swear I still see you between the blank stares. It's getting harder and harder to watch you disappear. Oh, you're falling farther and farther and leaving me in tears. If I could only seal the cracks you're slipping through. Wish I didn't feel so helpless when it comes to helping you. Hold on, but I keep holding on. Every little memory made of you and me, every little glimpse of who you used to be. I know you're still in there, deep down somewhere. I swear I still see you. Yeah, I still see you between the blank stares, between the blank